In each case, it's extremely unlikely that anyone with the authority to resolve your dispute will ever actually see it.
There's nobody to go to. You just keep making phone calls and you just keep writing disputes and you keep sending them your social security number and they don't care. I would get a consumer report and it would look fine. I would go to the bank and they would tell me, oh no, you have all this debt. But no one would tell me what was on there.
They wouldn't tell you what the debt
No.
was. And they wouldn't give you a copy of the report
No.
that they had.
No.
It took Judy Thomas several years to discover what almost no one knows, that the credit reports the agencies send to you are different than the ones they sell to banks, merchants, and mortgage brokers. And she only found that out when a loan officer left her file on his desk and walked out of the room.
And what did you see?
I saw debt from Utah Medical Center. I saw debt from a veterinarian clinic in Utah. I saw collections for a Judith Kendall.
Judith Kendall, not Judy Thomas.
Correct.
What's going through your mind?
What the hell is she doing on my credit report?
You think this would be very simple to get straightened out?
You would think. Yeah, you would think. This is my Judy Thomas versus Judith Kendall file.
Instead, it became a 6-year battle with credit agencies requiring box loads of correspondence to try and prove that she was Judy Thomas, not Judith Kendall. There are logs of daily phone calls to dispute centers, hundreds of letters to Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, even correspondence from Judith Kendall's creditors in Utah, acknowledging that the debts on her credit report aren't hers.
I would get letters back from these companies saying this, in fact, is not you.
You still couldn't get it off your credit report?
No, I sent copies to the credit bureaus and they would come back as mine, verified. I also hired a local attorney to try and straighten it out. We had everything certified, that this is Judy Thomas, this is where I live. I've never gone by the name of Kendall. I've never even been to Utah, let alone owing a cable company in Utah.
And what happened?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
What kind of problems did this cause for you?
I couldn't refinance. I couldn't take advantage of the interest rates. I couldn't get a car. I couldn't co-sign for my children's student loans. And I'd worked hard for my credit. And these people were taking it away from me.
Finally, Judy Thomas took the only recourse available to her. She sued Equifax and TransUnion in federal court. And after a year-long battle, the credit reporting agency settled for an undisclosed sum and promised to clean up her file.
If you challenge a credit report and mail your information to a post office box in the United States, the dispute will likely be investigated in India or the Philippines or South America.
None of us have ever interviewed anybody in Chile from Experian, and we've got a federal court ordering them to bring these people forward, and we're still waiting.
All these people who take the time to meticulously document a case that the bill isn't theirs or the bill has been paid, that is never seen by anybody?
It's not seen by anyone who considers it in determining whether or not information will be removed from a credit report.
It's not forwarded on to the person who has the complaint with you?
No, it is never forwarded on.
We can get a jury verdict for $1 million. That's chump change to some of these bureaus. They would rather pay a verdict in $1 million than to actually go in and change the policies and procedures that they have, because that's much more expensive to them.
I can say this without qualification. The dispute procedures used by the credit reporting agencies, uniformly used, completely fail to comply with the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Courts have found that. The Federal Trade Commission has found that. It's not even a close call.
Ohio Attorney General Mike DeWine agreed.
I think the industry is a mess, and I think the impact it has on real people is just unconscionable.
You think they're breaking the law?
I think they're breaking the law. There's no doubt in my mind they are breaking the law.
We wanted to talk to Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, but like most consumers, we were unsuccessful. The agencies referred us to the spokesman for their lobbying group in Washington. He too declined our request for an on-camera interview, but he did provide a written statement citing an industry-sponsored survey
that showed that 95% of its customers were satisfied with the dispute process.
So for me, after hiring Fortress and working with the team, the process was seamless on my end with the online portal access, the text of information. There's a lot of good ways to get in touch and get information over when it's needed. Otherwise, it's kind of autopilot. Went through the training. That does take some time, but it's valuable information. I learned a lot from it.
Fortress University, you'll feel like family, and you'll know you're getting what you desire done.
With your help and our increased credit scores, we're going to be able to buy whatever we want with a lower interest rate, and not have to worry about getting gouged with those high interest rates. So thanks a lot for your help. Appreciate it.
In 90 days, my credit score went up over 100 points.
Rondi, thanks again for everything. You've really helped increase my score by over 100 points and basically took all the delinquent. Very much appreciated. Thanks for a good job. Well done.
You can really feel in their voice that they care and they're there to help. I mean, you can feel it from them.
Working with Rondi, I did get approved for $44,000.
Without you, man, I wouldn't even be able to own real estate right now.
I've been with them about a year now. I've seen some significant improvements in my credit score.
Before Fortress University, I really didn't know how to get myself out of debt and what to do to start to really build my business and improve my credit and actually acquire wealth.
I got a 158-point increase.
And thanks to them, I now have a 781 in less than 50 days. It was just crazy.
Using him, my credit score actually went up by 100 points in 30 days working with Rondi. So if you are out there, you're looking for some type of credit repair or whatever, definitely want to talk with them.
Hi, I'm Tina. I have been in the credit world and debt settlement for admittedly 25 years. I've helped thousands of consumers resolve debt and get on track for their credit. I have worked with hundreds of different credit repair organizations and several different law firms. I would recommend Rondi and his team at Fortress to help any consumer get a handle on credit and use it to the best that it can be used.
My credit was bad. It was in the 500s. I was making six figures and I literally had 4 across my credit. And so in this program, it's revolutionary. And my credit's got 130 points. And that's what Fortress University is. It's a lifestyle to understand the real game of finance and the real game of money and the real game of banking, not the BS crap that we were talking.
76% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Is that you?
I'm the CEO and founder of Fortress, America's first holistic financial education company.
I wasn't born into it. We lived on welfare, but I wanted more.
So I created Fortress,
helping people escape poverty like I did.
Mr. Rondi Lambeth, award-winning host of Your Credit Matters, a radio show and iTunes podcast, the international best-selling author of Great Credit for Life, and a frequent speaker on the topic of finances and credit repair with TV stations across the U.S. and a regular keynote speaker at Harvard. Rondi has helped hundreds of thousands of Americans. He has deleted millions of accounts from his clients' credit reports and eliminated over $50 million in debt.
Who's excited to train with me behind these doors?
Put your hands together for Rondi Lambeth.
Raise your hand if you'd like to have a higher credit score.
A government study indicated that as many as 40 million Americans have a mistake on their credit report. Those mistakes can be nearly impossible to get removed from your record.
1 out of 5 Americans has an error on their credit report, and 1 out of 10 has an error on their credit report that might lower their credit score.
Your FICO score is the most important number in your life. It determines how much you pay for gasoline, groceries, internet, electricity, car insurance, life insurance, homeowners insurance, and interest.
Fortress is one of the fastest growing and most successful credit repair and coaching companies in the country for good reason.
Get ready because he'll blow your mind.
I feel like my life is back on track. I'm really excited to be getting my credit fixed.
Rondi cuts right to it, shows you how to find financial independence.
Fortress is #1.
You are an absolute subject matter expert. You are passionate about what you do.
A phenomenal thing. Credit cards, no problem. Mortgages, no problem. It's just a tremendous program. We definitely need somebody like you. So thank you very much,
I
Rondi.
just want to say thank you so much. What you do is bring hope and possibility and calmness. I've been out of the country for 10 years and moving back here was made a lot less scary, starting the journey of working with you. And just, I am so grateful to you and your team and everything that you are doing right now. It's changing my life.
Credit rating drastically improved. You had results for us.
He brought me in October. I was 670. By Christmas time, I was a 785. Like, bam, just like that. Incredible results.
Really helped increase my score by over 100 points.
Since I started working with Rondi and his team, their mentorship, it made it just seamless. But within 30 days, my credit rose from a 634 to a 720, which is insane.
Has went from 530 to 735. So I'm very impressed how you've been able to help us, and hope you can help other people like you're helping us.
He did a few simple things that I wouldn't have thought about, and I'm happy to report I went from 500 something to an 802. I qualified for absolutely any loan there is now, buying some real estate. I just bought a brand new pickup. Things are good.
Just through getting inside their program, doing exactly what they said to do, no exaggeration, my credit went up 75 points.
We just had Rondi Lambeth come and speak with us, and it was incredible. He taught us about tax strategy. He talked to us about investments. He dropped personal knowledge from his life, and it changed us, and it was amazing.
It's a mindset shift that I need to make, and it definitely opened my eyes to making that shift in order to best leverage my credit. And I appreciate all the knowledge that you shared with us.
Yeah, I just had a call with Rondi. It was awesome. Biggest takeaway, I literally figured out very simple ways to not pay taxes on about $50,000 of income, which is going to be huge for me this year.
Thank you so much for your help. I'm so excited about the future.
My name is Rondi Lambeth. I'm a certified FICO credit professional, CEO and founder of Fortress Credit. Been around since 2007. We've helped hundreds of thousands of people remove inaccurate items from their credit report, like late payments, charge-offs, collections, judgments, short sales, bankruptcies, tax liens, repossessions, and everything else. And we do that by simply understanding how the law works. I want to help you out of that consumer debt, teach you how to increase your credit score, teach you how to make more money at your current job or your current business, and then how to actually create generational wealth without changing your lifestyle. It is going to be a lot of fun. It's not like regular school. I'm Rondi Lambeth, and this is Fortress University.
All righty. Hope everybody's doing well. Let me just turn off that real quick. So give me a second here, guys. Good to see everybody on. Give me 1 second. I'm going to add a new screen to the dashboard so you can see it. They're on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and all the other places. Give me 1 second while I do that. We are going to share this window right here. I think this one's going to work. So let me change the view to the speaker, to gallery. Almost there, guys. Give me 1 second. I'm almost there. Here we go. I think it's this one. All right. This one here. All right. So, welcome everybody. Good to see everybody here. Make sure you have a pen and paper because tonight we're going to be going over a lot of things you want to write down. If you could, I'm going to mute everybody. Gary, keep getting unmuted. Generally, a lot of people don't know this, but if you have a keyboard like this one here, if you hold down the mute or the space button, you actually bump that setting could unmute you. So a lot of people don't do that. All right, let's get started. Again, thanks everybody for being here. Let me switch this screen here to, let's just say hi to the audience. Everybody wave. I have multiple different channels going. I got Instagram, TikTok, Live, YouTube, and a whole bunch of other people. So everybody wave at each other. There we go. All right. That's what I like to see. Okay. So let's get going here. Turn off this one here. Got a lot of technology. You can see. Here we go. I'm going to back up just one slide for the folks that are just getting on now. So, oops, back up one more. Back up. Sometimes technology just doesn't work out the way you want it to.
Our next speaker was not born into wealth or even the middle class. For most of his childhood, he and his 6 siblings lived in a shack with no running water and no electricity. Outside the home, he and his younger brothers and sisters resorted to dumpsters for food and clothing. Inside the home, daily life meant coping with a violent father addicted to drugs and alcohol. At the age of 15, he left home taking nothing except a promise he made to himself to succeed in life so that those he cared about would never experience the poverty that very few can imagine. Not long after, he enlisted in the National Guard, where he served his country for 15 years as a crew chief on a medevac helicopter. Then, at the age of 21, fueled by a desire to help and protect people, he became a firefighter in Colorado, a career that would last until his retirement in 2005. Still driven by a desire to protect, the promise he made to himself as a child to succeed financially would become a promise he would make to the world. That promise inspired the creation of Fortress, a company founded with the purpose to educate and empower the public on money and credit. Over the last 11 years, he has fulfilled the promise he made by helping tens of thousands of people improve their credit and finances through education and inspiration. And that ever-growing list includes some of the world's most recognizable people.
Fortress is one of the fastest growing and most successful credit repair and coaching companies in the country. Good reason.
He has spoken stages around the world in front of thousands of people, including Harvard University. He's also appeared on nearly every television network. He's been heard on over 2,000 radio broadcasts nationwide and is currently the host of the School of Wealth. He's also been featured in the Wall Street Journal and Inc. magazine. He is the CEO and founder of Fortress, America's most successful paid-on-results credit repair and coaching company. Please welcome to the stage, Rondi Lambeth.
All right. So good to be here. You guys ever heard this? Nothing in this world can be said to be certain except for death and taxes. Mr. Benjamin Franklin said that. I wonder if he was alive today, if he'd add something about credit in there, having to have good credit in order to, live life. So tonight I'm going to share a couple things on one, how to avoid or reduce your taxes, how to minimize your debt, how much you pay in interest, and how to maximize your credit scores. So let's get started with Mr. Ben Franklin.
I grew up as a Southern girl, Baptist girl gone bad. Men took care of the finances. I never felt like I could actually understand it because I just kept hitting walls. My credit was bad. It was in the 500s. And that wasn't because I was a bad person. I was making 6 figures and I literally had 4 across my credit. The psychology is against us. And so in this program, it's revolutionary. And my credit's got 130 points. And that's what Fortress University is. It's a lifestyle to understand the real game of finance and the real game of money and the real game of banking, not the BS crap that we were taught.
That was Heather Havenwood when she came to me. She had very poor credit score. And it wasn't necessarily because she was paying her bills late. It was because she didn't know how to manage her business finance and personal finance. And she had a commingled, which caused her to have poor credit scores. And you're going to see many testimonials tonight, many videos. And the reason I share those is it is illegal to share testimonials that are fake. And so everything I show you tonight will pass the smell test, pass the scrutiny of law. These are real testimonials from real clients. And our results are much different. You know, most credit repair companies have to put results not typical on their websites. We don't, because they are our results. Our average client will see 100 to 150 point increase. Some see as much as 250 point increases. I'll be explaining how. But before I do that, I would like to introduce my mom. And the reason I introduced my mom is I want to show you that I'm a lot like you. I grew up low middle class. Until I was 15, I didn't have running water or electricity. And this was actually the only picture I have with my mom. That's me at 9 months old. If you look at my mom, she's very large because she was 9 months pregnant. I don't know how that happens. But my brother was born about a month afterwards, and him and I share the same age, 2 months out of every year. And why I share this picture is everything my mom taught me about money was a lie. And I hear on a regular basis, doesn't matter if I'm speaking at Harvard, doesn't matter if I'm on Fox News or any other podcast, it's always like, how did you learn all this stuff about money, credit, and taxes? My parents didn't teach me anything. Well, my parents taught me things, but it was wrong. You know, look at this. This was a storage shed that my parents, teenage parents, converted into a house. They didn't know much about money at all. I'm the oldest of 11 kids, and everything I learned the old-fashioned way, and that's hard knocks and hiring people, paying the ignorance tax, if you will. So that's my mom. And like I said, everything she taught me about money was a lie. First lie was this is money. Now, under the definition of what money is, this is not money. This is a piece of paper issued by the Federal Reserve. See that up there? It's a Federal Reserve note. Raise your hand for me or put something in the chat. 1, 2, yes. Put something in the chat is if you've ever heard someone say, I don't use credit, I pay cash for everything. So put something in the chat, put a 1 in there, put a yes, raise your hand. Let me know. Have you guys ever heard that before? Robert, have you ever heard that? Diane, Gary, Catherine, any of you guys never heard anybody say, I don't use credit, I pay cash? Dave Ramsey's one of them, and he's got tens of millions of followers. The joke's on them. And the reason the joke's on them is because this is not money. This is a Federal Reserve note issued on the the United States credit rating. It's not money. It is a note. So it's actual credit. So when you use a $100 bill to pay for your bills, it is credit, just like a credit card. Now, the Federal Reserve was created by these guys. J.P. Morgan, you guys ever heard of them? Founder of Chase Bank. John D. Rockefeller, own nothing, control everything, the richest man on the planet. His family's still the richest people in the world, even though Elon Musk allows everybody to think he's the richest. It's because the Rockefellers, the Morgans, the Chases, they just don't want everybody to know how much money they actually still have. Then Jacob Schiff, and then the Wahlberg brothers. 5 men in 1913 created the Federal Reserve System. It's not federal. They have no reserves. They were bankers who created basically a spreadsheet, and they charge the United States government interest when they print dollars. It's not their money. It's literally a spreadsheet. And so you and I as taxpayers pay the Federal Reserve, the same 5 families that are still running the Federal Reserve. It's still not federal. We're paying them interest on paper that they create out of thin air. And it's not fair to us, but that's the way our system is set up. And we have a choice. We can either complain about how it's not fair, or we can actually learn the rules of the game so we can win. So tonight I'm going to teach you 3 things: how to maximize your credit, how to minimize your debt and taxes, and how to multiply your income and assets. And that's what we teach here at Fortress University. Now, if you are here and you don't care about learning about money, you're fine with paying the U.S. government 50% of your income, you're okay with high interest rates, you just simply want to increase your credit score, then I recommend you go to creditmojo.ai. It's creditmojo.ai. and just sign up for the do-it-yourself program. You get access to our software. You don't get the coaching, you don't get the customer service, you don't get the education, but you can just fix your credit. If you got 5 minutes a month, that's all it is. It's $39.95. Print your own letters. Use our software to create them automatically for you. Print the letters, 5 minutes a month, and you'll get about 55% of your bad credit corrected over the next 90 to 6 months, 90 days, 6 months. So, but if you're here because you want to learn how to actually manage your money, how to learn how to actually increase your credit score, pay less taxes, get out of debt, start a business, start real estate investing, and stick around. So how do you maximize credit? Well, in order to maximize it, you need to know what is credit. Credit has been around for hundreds of years. Technically, legally, it's been around 200 plus years. Technically, it's been around thousands of years. But it wasn't until the 1800s when a suit maker in London started keeping track of people who paid him on time, who paid in full, people who paid late, and people who never paid him at all. And I imagine it kind of went like this. After a hard day's work, he goes to the local pub. He's having a warm beer because that's what they did back in the 1800s. They served beer warm. Sit next to the blacksmith, maybe the carpenter, and they were complaining about how people were hiring them and not paying. And then he said something like, hey, I have a list of all my customers who pay on time. If you want it, I'll sell it to you. And I think that's how the conversation went, because that's how it happened. He started keeping track of his clientele, and then he started selling the list to other merchants, other business owners, shop owners. And that was our first credit reporting agency. It wasn't until the late 1900s that the credit reporting agencies changed their names to credit bureaus. And it was after the Federal Bureau of Investigation was created. And the reason they changed it was to scare people and intimidate people into thinking the credit bureau is some government agency. It's not. It is a for-profit marketing agency that makes money gathering information on you and then selling it to people who want to buy it. That's what your credit is. It's just a list of how you pay your bills. Now, why should you listen to me? I am a FICO certified credit professional. There are a few of us, as in like less than a dozen in the United States. Everything I talk about tonight is going to be based on the FICO credit score, because there's dozens of others. There's Vantage, there's TransRisk, there's Paydex, there's Liquid, there's many, many more. But I'm only going to talk about FICO because that's what 90% of the banks use. How is your credit score calculated? Well, there's 5 areas on your credit report that FICO looks at. We have how much you owe. That's 30% of your credit score. New credit, that's 10%. So that's your inquiries. And then when you get new credit, 15% of your credit score is based on how long you've had your credit. The longer your credit file's been open, the higher your credit score goes. 10% is what type of credit, how many credit cards you have. Do you have a mortgage? Do you have car loans, student loans, boat loans, etc.? And then 35% has to do with whether you pay your bills or how you pay your bills. But if you notice there, it says 35% of your credit score right there is payment history. You see where it does not say negative payment history, it just says payment history. And the reason it doesn't say negative is negative payment history is actually very small. In fact, 80% of your credit score has nothing to do with whether you pay your bills on time or not. It's everything else. And why that matters is the most credit repair companies, the traditional credit repair companies, only focus on the late payments, the collections, the charge-offs, the judgments, the short sales, the repos, and they ignore everything else. Most of the clients that come to us have a 400, 500, or 600 credit score. And if only 20% of the score is based on negative payment history, which is 105 points, technically 110, but there's a 5-point buffer there for FICO. But 110 points, if I fixed every negative thing on your credit, you come to me with a 450 credit score. When you're done, you still have bad credit. You 550, 560. And this is why most people who hire a traditional credit repair company leave after paying thousands of dollars, leave with still having bad credit, and they have to come to us because the credit repair companies, the traditional ones, don't teach about the other 80%. So if you have something to write with, I want to teach you guys something. Is that okay? Let me know. Shake your hand, give me a thumbs up. Tell me if it's okay if I teach you something other than that. Cool. I love the interaction. All right. So check this out. Your FICO score is a 300 to an 850. If you have something to write with, please write that down. 300 to 850. Ignore the sloppy handwriting. You know, I've never had great handwriting, but I can tell you the more I type, the less readable my handwriting. Anybody else experience that? The more you type, the less you handwrite and the worse it gets. Anybody else experience that? Oh. So everybody write that down. Give me a thumbs up if you have that written down. That is your FICO credit score, okay? 300 to 850. Now, FICO had a monopoly and they lost their 10-year lawsuit recently, multi-billion dollars. As of January 1st, you'll start seeing Vantage credit scores on your credit reports. So for the last 40 years, it's all been FICO, and they lost their monopoly. So, but all of them still use the same scoring model, 300, 850. I want you to do this. Does anyone know if you have a 550 credit score, what that actually means to a bank? So when they look at it, they're like, he's got a 550, it means this. Does anybody know what that means? Just raise your hand if you do. All right, let's see here. Is it okay if I unmute you, Gary? Sure? Okay. Gary, if you had a 550 credit score, thanks for participating, by the way. If you had a 550 credit score, what does that mean to the bank?
That you're a subprime lender.
Yes, right. You're a subprime borrower. Yep. You're a subprime borrower. Exactly. Check this out, Gary. Thank you so much. Check this out. Put a period right there, guys. See that? When you have a 300 credit score, now, don't call me tomorrow and blow up my social media telling me I'm wrong like some people do. I was trained by FICO. I'm giving you a basic idea of how the algorithm works. It's a lot more complicated than this, but I like to teach in ways that a 7-year-old could understand that. You guys ever met with someone like attorneys, doctors, and they just talk so far over your head? They use all the fancy terms that doesn't make sense. I don't talk that way. I speak at a level that a 7-year-old can understand it. So if you have a 300 credit score, that represents a 30% likelihood you will pay your bills on time over the next 2 years. If you have an 850 credit score, there's an 85% chance. So if you have a 550 credit score, that equals 55%. Banks do not want to loan to anyone unless it is a 75% chance. Now, there are banks, subprime lenders, that will loan you all day long at 550. They're also going to charge you 30, 40% interest. If you want 0% interest or low interest rates, 750 or higher. I want you to be 850 so you have a little buffer there. Because if you're an 850 and you max out a credit card, you might drop to 800, but you're still above 750. That is your key, 750. There is nothing, there's not one bank that I'm aware of. I've been doing this now 17 years. Not one bank that I'm aware of that gives you something better if you have an 850 credit score. It's not like 850 in order to get 0% interest. It's 750 or higher. Okay? So when we look at that, next time you look at your credit score, think about that. Now, FICO has created billions and billions and billions of credit scores extremely accurately. Their algorithm predicts the future of whether or not someone will pay their bills. That's why 90% of banks use FICO, because it's extremely accurate. There's always outliers, but for the most part. Now, in order to obtain unlimited credit, you must have certain things on your credit report. Most importantly, you need at least 3 credit cards. If you do not have 3 open credit cards that you're not using every month, you, my friend, will never have great credit. You have to have 3. I recommend 4. I recommend American Express, Discover, Visa, MasterCard. Those are the 4 that I recommend. 1 of each. The reason I recommend 1 of each is 10% of your credit score is mixture. FICO likes to see a mixture of things on your credit. The other problem, or the other reason I like you to have all 4, is it's rare that Visa, if you have a Visa card, that it becomes a MasterCard. Because these banks are constantly merging. In fact, the Department of Justice just filed a lawsuit against Visa because Visa is buying up all these little companies and converting debit cards into Visa cards. And so the Biden administration is going after them now. So I want to teach you how to obtain unlimited credit. And that's one of the starting points is 3 credit cards minimum. Now, if you don't have any credit cards, good news is at the end of tonight, I'm going to share with you where you can go to get a credit card regardless of your credit score. They don't care what your credit score is at all. Now, the cost of bad credit, I think this is pretty simple. Most people understand it, but it's helpful to look at it. If you have bad credit, less than 740, a $59,000 F-150, your payment's going to be $1,138. If you have a 740 or higher, your payment's going to be $738. That's a $20,000 difference in buying power. This is why I think most people that hire me have car problems, because the only car they can afford is a junker with lots of miles, and it breaks down, and then they get in this loop where they're having to trade in their broken down cars, and they get more upside down. Once your credit's fixed, you can start buying better cars that aren't going to need to be replaced. In a house in California, the average home is $750,000. That's a $100,000 difference. If you have good credit, your payment's going to be around $4,700. If you have bad credit, your payment's going to be $5,500. How many of you want to buy a house? Type in the chat house or home. Someone on YouTube asked what FICO model is most used. As of right now, FICO model 2, 4, and 5 is used by mortgage companies. FICO 8 is used by banks. But as of January 1st, the entire credit scoring system turns upside down. All banks will be required to use Vantage 4.0 and FICO Model 10. So as of right now, they use all kind of different versions. That's why your credit score is different everywhere you go. But on January 1st, 2025, everything changes. Good and bad changes coming. My clients, I'm sharing with them right now on how to get their credit straight now. So when it changes in January 1st, they'll be 100 points higher than everybody else. People that have 800 credit scores right now, 840s, 850s, January 1st will most likely drop into the low 700s because they're flipping a lot of what they look at now. So thank you for that question, Ann Smith from YouTube. So let's see, how many people want to buy a house? Another house. Cool. Catherine says house. Cool, cool, cool. Good to hear that, Catherine. There's a big difference between a $400,000 house and $500,000 or $750 and $850, right? Like if you're in California, you could buy an $850,000 house for the same price as $750 if you have good credit. And then look at credit cards. It's not just the interest rates, guys. Look at credit cards. Up to 10% cash back. The other advantage you get with good credit cards is things like luggage replacement. I watched a special the other night, and they were talking about how the airlines have an auction and they give most people, a broken bag and $50. And then they take those suitcases, they separate it and they sell it and they keep all the profit from it. Anything you leave on an airline or an airport, they confiscate it and they make money. And it was hundreds of millions of dollars they were making off of this. Goes to, makes you wonder, do they lose the luggage on purpose? Now, the advantage of having a good credit card, a Visa Signature or American Express, is you can get up to $5,000 in luggage reimbursement if you had $5,000 worth of stuff in your suitcase. And based on what I learned from watching the special, I like watches. And I don't generally wear my really nice. I have watches that cost more than a house. And I generally, when I travel, I don't wear them. I just put them in my bag. But after watching that special last night, knowing the airlines are possibly stealing our luggage, and you know who gets to pick through the luggage? The employees. They get to pick through it first. It's a lost and found, and whatever's not picked through, they sell it. So I'm no longer going to put my expensive stuff in my checked bags. And I recommend you probably don't do that as well. So it's not just about interest rates. It's all kind of things. Forbes did a study and found that, it was Money Magazine did the study, found that the average American loses $350 a month due to bad credit. $350 a month, $4,200 a year. That's a car payment. Not a very nice car payment, but it's a car payment. So check this out. 100% of all credit reports contain mistakes and errors on them. 100% of them. Let me show you. This person's name is very simple. It was John and then his last name. Yet he had 14 different spellings. They spelt it wrong 14 times. Anybody on here, like Catherine, I bet you have multiple different spellings of Catherine. Women generally have more names than men because they get married and change their names. Every time you have a different name added to your credit report, it's a red flag. Does not affect your credit score. But let me ask you a question. If when you're ready to get married, maybe you're already married now. How many are you married? Raise your hand if you're married. A couple of you? Okay. If when you meet the one, for those of you that aren't married yet, for those of you who are married, follow along. If when you meet the one, you found out that person had been married 14 different times, would it raise any red flags? Doesn't mean you're going to love them less. Doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It just means they were married 14 times. So the bank looks at it the same way. It doesn't mean you're going to get denied credit, but they're going to be more thorough with your application because they want to see if there's any fraud. So the first thing we do is we clean up your names and addresses. And then we get into the rest of the credit report, which is why most of you maybe are here. This is an actual credit report. Every single thing that I have that I'm posting, none of it has been altered. Now, the only thing that I've altered is like I've crossed out people's names so you can't see it, checking account numbers, routing numbers. But I haven't like moved stuff around. I haven't screenshotted credit reports together to make it look. This is an actual screenshot. Why that's important? Because the Federal Trade Commission says I can go to prison if I'm editing documents to make them look like something they're not. So I actually have this client's credit report. And I can show this all day long. Almost every credit report we look at every day has these mistakes. So look at this. Experian on top. Experian says the first time this person was late. Oh, man. That's how you know this is live. I pushed the wrong button. So Experian says they were late in October. But Equifax down here at the bottom says, no, they were actually late in September. I don't think that actually came through. Did it? I don't see it on here. Oh, it didn't change on my slides. Hold on, guys. That is weird. Never had that happen before. Give me 1 second. I need to go back over here to OBS and fix something right here because there we go. So see how September 30, that's when they said they were late, but Experian says it was actually October 30. You guys see that? And then the bottom one says they were late, 6 days late in October, but Experian at the top says, no, that's the first time they were ever late. See that right there? Look at that. 30. That's not an altered document. When we get done, I'm going to give you a website where you can get your credit report for $1 and look at it. You're going to see this on your credit report. It is extremely common. The banks don't even know when you were late, which is one of the ways we get things removed. We ask for documentation proving it. If it doesn't match what the credit report says, they have to remove it. See, we don't send letters saying I wasn't late because who knows, maybe you were late. Check this one out. This one says it's open. You see right there, right about there. It says open. On the other side, it says closed. It's a collection. Which one is it? Is it open or is it closed? All these circles, this is an actual dispute letter. We circle everything in red, staple it to our letters when we mail it to the credit bureaus. We circle it so they know what is wrong. Because TransUnion doesn't know what's on Experian, and Experian doesn't know what Equifax has. So we include all three credit bureaus showing it. And now the credit bureaus have no excuse whatsoever but to delete the item. And if they don't, we can sue them on behalf of you. When you work with us, we have a full legal team, attorneys and paralegals, who will file lawsuits on your behalf at no cost to you. When you dispute it the right way, this is what it looks like. This is actual clients' credit reports. Now, obviously, I blanked out their names, so you can't see it. This client on the right over here, this one over there, 90% deleted. That was in 6 months. 90% deleted. Why is it not 100%? Because there's a couple names left. 6 months, 90%. Our typical results are around 85% in the first 6 months.
My name is Colin Wayne. About a year ago, I started working with Rondi and his team. Within 30 days, my credit rose from a 634 to a 720.
In 90 days, my credit score went up over 100 points.
No exaggeration, my credit went up 75 points.
It has went from 530 to 735. So I'm very impressed how you've been able to help us.
I've been with them about a year now. I've seen some significant improvements in my credit score.
I got a 158-point increase.
I now have, I think it was a 781 in less than 50 days. It was just crazy.
In October, I was 670. By Christmas time, I was a 785. Incredible results.
You can only share these types of results if you can back it up. And I have thousands of them because in 17 years, we've helped over 100,000 people. So not only are we going to help you with your credit, we're also going to help you with your taxes. Most people don't like paying income taxes because the government just wastes it. They send it off to countries. Do you know we gave Iran billions of dollars? This is a country that has parades saying death to America. And yet we gave them billions and billions. I think it was like $400 billion. Not getting political on you. But I don't know about you, but I don't work my butt off and sacrifice my body, my time, and sacrifice the time with my family to send it to Iran. As a veteran, I find that appalling. So I do everything I can to minimize my taxes. And I'm going to share with you how you can as well. A lot of people talk about loopholes. And most things with taxes, they're not loopholes at all. There's some loopholes, but this, for example, is not a loophole. You are legally allowed, every single U.S. citizen, and all of you that are on here, including Catherine May, I don't know your last, is it Clemens? Including you. I put her because she wants to buy another house. Everyone here is legally allowed to rent your residence where you live, whether it's a boat, whether it's a car, a motorhome, or a house or a condo, you are legally allowed to rent your home to anyone at any price, tax-free. Do you guys know that? Did anybody know that? That you can rent your home, your residence, 14 days a year tax-free. So that house right there, they rent that house to Tiger Woods every year for the Masters when he's there. He pays $100,000. And the person who owns that house doesn't have to pay a dime in income tax on it. Is that fair? It's very fair because everyone can do it. My daughter, for example, she lives in Las Vegas. She's got a little 5-bedroom, I think it's 4 or 5 bedroom, about 3-4 miles from the stadium. She could have rented her home earlier this year when the Super Bowl was there for $15,000. So because hotel rooms, basic hotel rooms during the Super Bowl were $1,500 a night. So she could have rented her home for 15 grand for the week and put it in her pocket and paid her rent for the next 6 months, tax-free. All of you can do this, and I share with you how, because there's a certain way to do it. Any of you have kids? Okay. Do you know you get almost a $15,000 additional write-off if you have a business? So if you own any business at all, whether it's a small, like one of the consults I did this morning, she only made $5,000 last year making balloons, like the fancy balloons. She's got 2 kids. So she could have wrote off almost $30,000 to offset her W-2 income. I'm going to show you how to do that. It's very simple. The kids just have to have a bank account. You got to transfer the money in their bank account, and then you use it for paying bills. If they go to college, it goes up to $35,000. People talk about this all the time. Like, I got to save up for college for my kids. No, you don't. You can start a home-based business, donate money from your personal job, your W-2 job, put it in the business account, take it from the business account, give it to the kid, 100% tax write-off. Did you guys know that? And I got 266 more strategies like this.
And I owe in back tax in total like 400 grand, and they'll probably get me down to like 50 grand in taxes, 50 to 70 grand in taxes due.
It's not a bad deal.
It's not a bad deal.
I just had a call with Rondi. It was awesome. Biggest takeaway, I literally figured out very simple ways to not pay taxes on about $50,000 of income, which is going to be huge for me this year.
We just had Rondi Lambeth come and speak with us, and it was incredible. He taught us about tax strategy. He dropped personal knowledge from his life, and it changed us, and it was amazing.
Jared owed, I think he said $500,000. Maybe he said 400. I don't remember. $400,000 or $500,000. We got it down to 50. We didn't change any. We didn't like hide anything. We just changed the way he was paying himself. And that's one of the things, one of our advanced classes. Now, I talk about these classes. I have lots of classes, 50 plus hours online that you can watch anytime you want in 2 to 3 minute clips, kind of like an Instagram reel. And then I have live coaching calls I do on Thursday, and that's where I go through a lot of this advanced stuff. Okay? We're also going to help you minimize your debt. Do you know almost 10% of every single credit card in America right now, almost 10% is in default? It's the highest it's been since 2008. 15% higher foreclosures in the month of August than they were in July. 15%. So things are going sideways. Banks are suing like crazy now. Fortunately for you, I have a law firm. I'm able to, I'm not an attorney. None of this is legal advice. I have a law firm that works for me, the attorneys that work for me. We're able to sue these banks, credit bureaus, and collection companies if they violate your rights under the Fair Credit Report Act in the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. This is an example. This was JP Morgan and Chase. Remember JP Morgan from one of the earlier slides? Chase Bank, we settled it, saved them 61%. So they owed $4,000. We settled it 61% off, 66% savings with Wells Fargo, 67% with American Express, 71% with PNC Bank. And in many times when this happens, so if you have collections on your credit reports or charge-offs, repossessions, this is when the legal team gets involved. And sometimes you actually get a check. This is our law firm. Our attorney is Bill Kalutis, Shield Law Group. Look at the date on this check. You guys see it there? September 23rd. I got this check yesterday. I can't say who this cell phone provider is, but here's the story. They went to Costco. The cell phone rep said, hey, if you get a new phone, I'll pay off your old phone. You get this one for free. You guys have heard that before, right? You've experienced that? So she said, okay. Got the phone, got home. She lives in Eastern Oregon. It's 3.5 hours to Costco from John Day, Oregon to Bend. Got home a week later, got a letter in the mail saying, oops, we made a mistake. I know you're going to have to pay $1,200 for the phone. So she sent it back. This was July of 2023. In December, they sent her a letter saying, we're so sorry we made a mistake. So for 5 months, she battled with them. In December, they sent her a letter saying we made a mistake. In April, they put it on her credit report as a collection. I disputed it. They pulled her credit. That's illegal. I disputed in May. They pulled her credit. That's illegal. In June, I disputed it. They pulled her credit. That's illegal. So we reached a settlement. They sent us a check for $8,000, which goes to the client, and they deleted it from the credit report. So sometimes if you have collections from insurance companies, credit cards, cell phone companies, sometimes we're going to get you a check. Not always, but sometimes. Usually it's enough to pay for a year's worth of service with us.
Hi, my name is Zane. I went through a terrible divorce. My credit was horrible after. I had so much debt, I didn't know how I was going to even pay it back. Rondi eased my mind. Not only did he help me increase my credit score, but he eliminated my credit card debt. And then with my divorce settlement, he helped me invest it in a safe investment. And today, I can't thank him enough, and I can't thank his team enough. I don't even know where I'd be today without you guys. So thank you.
So we're going to help you increase your credit score. We're going to help eliminate your debt, minimize your taxes. And then if you want, I'll show you how to build business credit, how to start a business so you can maximize your income. And then I'll show you how you can actually buy real estate regardless of your credit score for very little down and make about $500 a month in cash flow. So you need about $10,000. I'll show you how to do it. You can buy a house with your $10,000 down payment, regardless of your credit score. And the U.S. government will pay you $500 a month for as long as you own that house, in addition to paying your mortgage. So most of these homes that we're buying, your mortgage is going to be about total. You'll collect about $1,300 from the U.S. government. Your mortgage, insurance, property manager fees and stuff is going to be about $800. And then you're going to make about $500. So that's all part of the advanced stuff. You get all of this included inside of Fortress University, not just credit.
Working with Rondi, I did get approved for $44,000.
Without you, man, I wouldn't even be able to own real estate right now.
Before Fortress University, I really didn't know how to get myself out of debt and what to do to start to really build my business and improve my credit and actually acquire wealth.
I feel like I can actually start to apply for things. I feel like I'm actually starting to have a real business, not some solopreneur thing. Like, it's revolutionary. And that's what Fortress University is. It's a lifestyle to understand the real game of finance and the real game of money and the real game of banking, not the BS crap that we were taught.
Most of what we were taught is BS, because we were taught by our family. We were taught by schools, our teachers that don't know a whole lot about money, that are legally restricted from teaching us about money. Do you know that's why they don't teach us about money, credit, and taxes in school? By law, they can't. Isn't that odd that our government would not want us to understand money? This is my family. I'm the oldest of 11. I have 3 kids and a grandson who turns 13 in 31 days. 13 and 31 days. I started young, just like my mom. I was 18 when I had my first kid. By the time I turned 22, I had 3 kids. And it's important to me. And what I figured out a long time ago is if I got my family involved in my little business, everything we did together was a tax write-off. What's better than that? Spending time with your friends and family and writing it off so we don't send it to Iran or any of the other countries that want to kill us. You ever feel like this guy? Like you're thinking, man, what am I missing? I went to school, I got good grades, I got a good job, I pay my bills, then COVID hit, they took away my job. Now I'm getting punished. I'm going to have bad credit for the next 7 to 10 years because of something out of my control. And you just don't know what to do. You don't know how to get ahead. Anybody feel that way? I know most of my clients feel that way. But there's a missing piece, and I know what it is. That missing piece is financial education. We're the first company to actually offer holistic financial education based on what people need to know. Like how to pay off your mortgage, how to pay off your car loans, how to reduce your taxes, how to get your credit fixed, how to increase your credit score. And that's what we do at Fortress University. It's not just repairing your credit, because that's 20% of your score. We're going to teach you over the next 6 to 9 months how to actually raise your credit score. Imagine on the other side of this bridge was financial freedom. Good credit. You can go to any car dealership and apply for it and not get that pit in your stomach, and you're thinking about how you're going to explain your collections on your credit report, your charge-offs. You guys know what I'm talking about? I know what that feeling feels like. I remember that, even though it's been a long time, I still remember it. Not having enough money to pay all your bills, having to use your credit card to pay for your groceries. A lot of people are having to use credit card right now to pay for groceries. On the other side of this bridge, that all ends. We can run across the bridge. We can crawl. We can walk. I will be there the whole way with you, holding your hand step by step. And how long it's going to take is up to you. Some people are very motivated. They want to get it fixed now, and they're in and out in less than 90 days. Some people are like, you know what? I got all day. And they're with us for a year. Most people, 6 to 9 months, they're completely turned around in 6 to 9 months. Why 6 to 9 months? Why not faster? Because the laws are written in a way that we have to warn the credit bureaus, the banks, and the collection companies prior to suing them. You have to get them an opportunity to fix it, and it generally takes about 6 months for them to go through the process before we can sue them. Now, I do live coaching every Thursday. This is where you get to sit down with me one-on-one and ask me any question you want. I don't care what it is, as long as it's not relationship advice. If it has to do with money, credit, and taxes, I'm your man. If it has to do with something else, that's not me. Every Thursday, you get to spend time with me. I have clients that do this. It's $500 a month for just the coaching. Ask me anything you want. How to start a business. I have clients I have a client right now. You guys ever heard of 75 Hard? Anybody heard of that? Raise your hand. 75 Hard. That's my client Andy Frisella's program. When Andy hired me 12 years ago, he had collection companies calling him. He was broke. He was living in his store, sleeping on a mattress he pulled out of a dumpster. I'm sharing this with you because he shares it. He's got one of the number one, it goes between him and Ed Milet, number one podcast on the planet. 12 years ago, he hired me to fix his credit. Today, his company's worth $5 billion. $5 billion. But 12 years ago, he was a client of mine. And I showed him how to start leveraging his credit, and we cleaned up all the collections. He's not a bad guy. He just had bad timing, bad cash flow. And he got stabbed in the face 39 times. So guess what? He had a bunch of medical bills. If you've never looked up Andy Frisella, I recommend it. He's got a great podcast called Real AF. Andy's a great guy. So I do coaching every Thursday. You guys get it for free. Everybody else pays $500 a month to participate. What's the risk? There is no risk. In 17 years, I haven't had a single failure. Not one client that we failed. Now, we've had clients that quit because they lose their job. They get frustrated. Their wife says they can't do it anymore. The husband says they can't do it anymore, or whatever reason. But not one person in 17 years that came through our doors have we failed them. So I offer this money back guarantee. If you go through my system and you apply what I teach, if you don't have a higher credit score or save money on your taxes, I'll give 100% of your money back. 100%. I've never done it. I used to have double, but people didn't believe me, so I just put it back to 100%. You're going to pay either way. You either embrace me, learn from me, or you pay an interest in higher taxes. So here's what you're going to get. These are your gifts. I'm going to show you how to save $5,000 on your income taxes. I used to charge $3,000 for the credit repair alone, $6,000 for the coaching, $2,000 to put a $2,000 credit card on your credit, which you get that for free with us now. And then I'm going to give you a class called 5 Days of 50 Grand, which teaches you how to start business credit after you start your business. All of these, if you look online, if you look at my old social media posts, you will see these prices. Not anymore. That's $18,500. You're not going to pay that. You're not going to pay any of that at all. In fact, what you're going to invest in your financial freedom is about what it would cost to go to dinner at a mediocre restaurant. That's about it, like a Village Inn or Denny's. Very affordable. Now, you might be thinking, like, why are you giving all this away for free? If you used to charge all this much money for it, why is it so much cheaper now? Are you dying? Well, that's me. November 25th of 2023, I was walking my dog. I stopped to take a drink of water, and it felt like someone was ripping off my arms, and I had a massive heart attack. Fortunately, I was very close to a hospital, and within minutes, they were rushing me into the operating room. If I would have been out in the mountains or on my motorcycle or camping or anywhere else, I wouldn't be here today. I do this because my little brother at 21 years old shot and killed himself over bad credit. That's why I started the company 17 years ago. I don't have to do this anymore. For the last 10 years, I've taken about 90% of my income and I bought real estate with it. I now own almost 500 apartments. I don't have to do this for money. I do this because of the weekly testimonials I get of saving people's lives, saving marriages, helping people with their money. That's why I do it. So that's why the pricing has changed, because I want to help millions of people. See, I used to want to help my family, and I wanted to make millions of dollars so I could leave millions of dollars for my family. But now I can do that. Now I want to help millions of people so they can help their families. So if you scan in this QR code or go to that website, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get the credit repair, the coaching, the credit cards for $129 per month. That's it. You can cancel anytime, no long-term contracts. Last week I had a woman on and she said, this is different. I was on here a month ago and it was $3,000, because it was $3,000 a month ago. And the reason it's $129, I want to help more people. And with the economy the way it is, 2 weeks ago, I went to California, went to Experience headquarters, met with the executive there, found out that almost 70% of Americans are using their credit cards now to pay for groceries. 70%. That's a huge number. And so I came back and I changed the price because I want to help as many people as I can. So that's what it is. It's $129 a month, which, by the way, is tax deductible. So now it's even better. You're either going to give it to the government or give it to us. At least with us, you learn. So how do you sign up? Scan in that QR code. Okay. Guaranteed credit card. Anybody who signs up, we're going to share with you how to get this credit card regardless of your credit score. If you sign up today, tomorrow you'll get the link to get this credit card. You can get the credit card, and in a week from now, you'll have it. A week after that, it'll be on your credit report, and you'll get a guaranteed $1,500 credit limit. This could add another 50 to 100 points on your credit by just getting this card, regardless of your credit score. They don't care what your credit score is. And we have other banks like that too. So you scan that in, you go to shop.fortressu.com/join. It's also the same link that was texted to you tonight to join here. That link changed. If you look at it, software changed. You can scan that in. Now, once you scan it in, this is what it's going to look like. And I'm going to open it up for Q&A here in a minute. It's going to open this up. It's either $129 a month for the personal finance, credit coaching, unlimited advanced credit repair, all the courses up to 50 hours on increasing your credit, community support. Call us anytime. Thursdays, get on live with me. No long-term contracts. We have a contract because the government says we have to, but it's no long-term. You can cancel anytime. You also, if you sign up today, you do your onboarding call tomorrow, and you decide, you know what, this isn't for me, we'll just give you back your money. We don't want it if you don't want to work with us. If you're a business owner, it's $299. That's if you want the advanced business credit and funding course. So you still get the credit repair, still get the personal finance, but for the extra $170, we're going to actually teach you how to build business credit and introduce you to our bankers, which we have over 500 banks and lenders in our system. Our average client gets $50,000 of business funding within 6 months. So if you want to start a real estate business or you have one, pick the business side. If you just want personal, pick the $129. You can always upgrade or downgrade anytime you want. Once you do that, it's going to take you to this page. You're going to fill it out. Put in your information, hit next, go to step 2, takes you to this page. You're going to pick which one you want. The top box is automatic checked. If you don't want to do the $129, you can uncheck that. If you want to do the $129 but don't have the $129 tonight, then check the $1 today and pay later. And then when we do our onboarding call with you, we will find out from you when you want to pay the $129. So if you're like, I want to get in now and I want to pay in a month from now, that's fine. If you're like, I want to get now and I want to pay in January, okay. Whatever you want. I want to help you as much as I can. So just pick which one of these you want. Just pick one of the 3, fill it out, complete it. If you're married, have a significant other, etc., pick the $1 for them because we have a significantly discounted rate for spouses and add-ons. Okay. Then you need to schedule your onboarding call. Anyone who enrolls tonight will complete the onboarding call, you and I, tonight. Anyone that can't complete the onboarding call, then you're simply going to schedule it for the next 48 hours. You have to do the onboarding call to make sure you know what to expect. If you don't schedule the onboarding call, we won't start until you actually do it because there's a couple things that we need to go over with you. And then from there, you're going to schedule it, click the button, and then from there, you're going to upload your driver's license, your proof of address, which needs to be a utility bill or a bank statement, not an envelope, not a junk mail, not a collection notice, an actual cell phone bill, electric bill, water bill, or bank statement with your name and your address on it. And then lastly, proof of your social security number. Preferably a social security card. If you don't have it, then any government issued tax document, tax returns, 1099, W-2, etc. Those 3 documents. So your entire process of doing this, you sign up, you do your onboarding call, you upload your IDs, and you check the mail. And when you get things in the mail, you take pictures of them, upload it to your secure portal. We then look at it, update your account, send out the next round of letters, call you up, tell you what we did, and we wait until you get something else in the mail. That's all you have to do. We're going to do everything else for you. You just have to open the mail and send us what you have. Now, I know that sounds silly, but you know that's the biggest problem we have is clients get letters from the credit bureaus, stuff like, if you respond to us in the next week, we'll delete this from your credit report. And then they wait a month to open it, and now it's too late. So it's really important that you open your mail and send us what you get from the credit bureaus. If you can't do that, then don't sign up because it's not going to work. But if you can take a couple minutes out of your busy month to open your mail and upload it, you're good to go. You got a question, Mr. Gary. I'm going to unmute you.
I do have a question because I'm trying to enroll right now and it's not giving me the $1 now option to pay in a few weeks.
So let me do this. Let me do this, my friend. Hold on one second. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm going to grab this. I want you to click on this link because I might have posted the older one. Like I said, we just changed the links. There you go. Check out that link I sent you, which is different than the one that Jeannie put in. Oh, that's why, because Jeannie put in the link from last week and we updated it today. We added the $1 to it this week because people were not signing up because they didn't have the money. So apologize for that. Jeannie, my employee, put in the wrong one. So Jeannie fixed that for next week. Okay. So that should work now, Gary. Oh, somebody else has a hand up. Catherine has a hand. Yes, Catherine.
Hi. Are you able to do a credit card statement instead of the bank statement?
No.
Okay, good to know.
I like EXP. Are you with EXP?
Yeah, 5 years and
All
going
right.
strong.
Awesome. I used to own an Exit Realty franchise.
Yeah, very familiar with that.
I remember when
About
EXP.
20 years here in Vegas. So
In fact, one of my clients is the man who took EXP public, Darren Jacklin.
okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of my clients. I help him with some tax stuff.
That's cool. I just liquidated my EXPI stock just because the market's going down, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah. One thing, are you set up as an LLC?
I am.
You are paying approximately 20 to 30% more in income tax than you legally have to pay.
Okay. Well, definitely need to chat about that. So yeah.
Because you're paying full self-employment tax, which is 15.3%. You're also paying about 20% more than you have to if you just simply change one little thing. So we will talk about that.
Okay, perfect.
Once you do your onboarding call, if you do it with me tonight, then you don't have you can hit schedule now, and then it'll take you to this page. This is how you upload your IDs. If you have proof of your social, your ID, your proof of your social, proof of your driver's license, government issued ID, etc., and proof of address, this is where you upload it. If you don't, you can upload it later, and then we can complete it on your onboard. Okay. The reason it has to be a bank statement or utility bill is because the credit bureaus say it does. Now, why would they say that? Because it's very difficult. Many millions of people do not have utilities in their own name. Millions of people don't have bank statements, bank accounts. They use online banking. And so the credit bureaus want to make it difficult for the consumer. Now, a traditional credit repair company, they don't care because they're billing you month after month, regardless of results, with no money back guarantee. They don't care how long it takes. I make the majority of my money off the litigation, not off the credit repair. I want you in and out as fast as possible. Because, like for you, Catherine, as soon as I fix your credit, I want to help you buy some more real estate. And I will make way more money helping you with real estate and helping you save on taxes than I will off the $129. I mean, think about it. Certified mail is about $6. You have 3 bureaus. That's $18. Then if you have another 5 accounts, now we have 8 accounts. That's like $48 in just postage per month, let alone all the labor and the printing and the stamps and the paralegals and the attorney fees. So in the $129, I'm barely making enough money to even cover the bills. I make my money off the litigation. So we want to get you in and out as fast as possible. And then once you're done, it says, welcome to Fortress, and you can log in right then and there. Log into Fortress University. Start doing your education. Once you sign up, you're going to get 3 coupons. These 3 coupons you can give to anybody you want. When you give this to a client, they can enroll, no cost to them whatsoever. So they get their first month for free. The second month you get for free. So for every person you refer to us, they get a free month. So they get a month to try it. And I know that a lot of people are afraid to refer other businesses until they've tried it out because they don't want their friend to have a bad experience and they don't want to be embarrassed. But with us, we don't charge your friend anything. They can sign up. First 30 days free. If they like it, they keep it. If they don't, they cancel. If they keep it the following month, you get it for free. Okay? So you'll get those in the mail. That dog you're holding there, Catherine, is actually could be tax deductible, by the way. Look at that cute little nugget.
She's part of my marketing program.
What kind of dog is it?
She's a Yorkshire Terrier,
Okay.
but her professional profile is backyard inspector.
Okay. They that is tax deductible, by the way, if you want it to be.
Yeah.
So now we're open to Q&A. I'm here for any of you. I'm here to answer any question you want that you have. Raise your hand. Okay, so we got a question right here with Gary. I want to unmute you. Yes, Gary.
I'm back to trying to finish the login, and I've gotten to the point where it says schedule your onboarding, verify your ID, and activate your credit report, but I'm kind of stuck.
So if you paid the $1, so you're going to hit schedule your onboarding. So you click that, and then it should take you to the upload your IDs.
Oh, there we go. Haha.
Yeah. And then you can just you can take a picture of your driver's license. Try to make it clean, no glare. We will crop around it. So if you get a little table or whatever, and then just take pictures of your documents and then upload them, and then hit submit. If you have a hard time uploading it, no big deal. That's what the onboarding calls for. So they'll help you with that.
Perfect.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
Anybody else have some questions? I'm looking over here on YouTube. I don't see anything over here. Raise your hand if you have a question. Unmute yourself if you have a question. Catherine's got one. Yes, Catherine, you are unmuted.
Hey, thank you. So I have a ton of Visa and MasterCards, but I've never had a Discover or American Express, and I'm hesitant to open them because I have such long trade lines on all my other accounts. And I don't want to have fresh credit on there. So I don't know.
Break that down for me. What do you mean by that?
Well, like some of my longest Visa is like 18 years, right?
Okay.
And then every time I get new credit, it just now is only like 10 years history or the longest credit trade line. And so I feel like every time I get a new credit card, it's just going to make it like 8, 7, and then I want to be at the 15-year mark.
Yeah. You do not want to apply for credit, just apply for credit. You never want to close a credit card early.
Yeah.
It's like getting pregnant and then giving birth at 5 months. Nothing is going to be good. Okay? So anytime you open a credit card, you want to keep it for at least 9 years, unless it's costing you money. If it's costing you money, then it's a different story. Instead, what you want to be doing, if you have good history like that, Catherine, when you get through our program, you're going to be well into the high 7s, low 800s if you have history. The reason that most of our clients end up in the high 6s, low 7s is they don't have the history.
Mm-hmm.
And they just have a little bit of history. And then we add it, and then every month it gets higher and higher. Instead of getting new personal credit cards, get business credit cards instead in your LLC's name.
Yeah.
And you can get hundreds of thousands of dollars of business credit in your LLC name at 0% interest for up to 22 months.
Yeah, that's my issue because it's been a really tough year and I've run a sales team.
Mm-hmm.
Just supporting all of them, supporting all the bills and stuff. It's just been hard and it's just only been on my personal credit. So that's why I liquidated my EXPI stock and then I'm back down to 0 on all my credit cards.
Okay.
Well, still yeah, so it was nice that way, right? But still I have a lot to go. So
yeah, you that's the biggest problem that most entrepreneurs use is they use personal credit because they don't know how to build business credit. You're going to get the 5 days to 50 grand, which will teach you how to do that. And I'm just going to post a thing right here real quick. There we go. YouTube, someone asked a question. So you're going to learn how to get these credit cards. And the problem with using personal credit for your business is it ruins your credit score, as you have experienced. The second thing is it can break your corporate veil because you're commingling funds. And because of that, what's scary about it is if you ever get audited and you get just a really bad guy or bad woman that's got their chip on their shoulder, which all IRS agents do because most IRS agents went to school for accounting and they sucked so bad they couldn't get a job at a big accounting firm, so they had to work for the IRS. That's most of them. Most of them have a chip on their shoulder. They're the D students. So they get upset. They see you doing well. They're jealous. And if they really wanted to ruin your life and make things hard, they could dissolve your entire LLC, break the whole thing down, and every write-off you've ever done, they can disqualify it because you used a personal credit card and business together and you commingled it. So they could literally blow up your entire company, and now you have to pay back taxes. So it's really important that you do not commingle funds. Okay?
I have commingled funds.
Don't commingle funds. You got to stop doing that. Stop. You can use a personal credit card to pay for business expenses, but you can't continue to use that business card or personal card back and forth. You can't do groceries one day and Facebook advertising the next day or pay MLS dues. It's got to be completely separate. So going forward, pick one for personal and pick the rest for business. Okay? Because you're going to get yourself in trouble. Any other questions? All right. Anybody else? Raise your hand. Unmute yourself if you do, because I'm here until you guys tell me to go downstairs. So again, to sign up, you go to that website, shop.fortressu. I'll post it one more time over here in the chat. I already, Ann Smith asked a question on FICO, and I already answered it, but it's what FICO model is most used. It's 2, 4, and 5 for mortgages, 8 for credit cards, and soon, as of January 1st, it'll be Model 10T and Vantage 4.0. Look through these questions. Yeah, and the other thing, Catherine, that I'm going to do for you is I'm actually an ambassador for American Express. And I can get you every single American Express card offered with one inquiry. And you get a private banker to work with American Express. So it's a pretty cool deal. I'm just looking through some of these questions, make sure I got them all. Gary says, I want to start a podcast. I think you should, Gary. Podcasts are fun. They're a lot of work. And guess what, Gary? You are going to suck at your podcast for about the first 10 episodes. It is embarrassing how bad you will be. Because I was too. Like, I was really bad for a couple of years. But then I did over 2,000 shows, and so I'm pretty good now. Ann Smith says, do you think mortgage bubble will pop? That's on YouTube. I don't think we are going to have a 2008 real estate crash like I lived through. That's when I owned my Exit Realty franchise, 2005 to 2015.
Yeah, I was through that too. It was horrible.
Ooh, that first 3 years were so good. 2005 to 2008. Yeah. It was so good.
before. I was like, oh, this is wonderful. And I'm like, what's the short sale?
And then it actually got a lot better because I learned how to deal with short sales and foreclosures. Here's what I think is going to happen with the real estate market. I think you're going to see interest rates continue to go down. You know, historically, that's what they do when recession hits or when hyperinflation happens, and then it pushes us into a recession. We're already in it. The media just doesn't want to make one person look bad, so they're not talking about how bad the economy is. You guys all know it. You're all paying for groceries. I think what will happen is the interest rates will go down, which will make the houses more affordable, but I don't think you're going to see a big dip in the price. And the reason why is there's so many people that want to have a house. When you think about this, and again, I'm not getting political, so we have approximately 15 to 20 million people here in America illegally. Where are they all living? There's more people in America that want to own a home than there are homes available. So I don't think we're going to get a big crash. What do you think, Catherine? You're in the real estate. Do you do you see a shortage of buyers?
No, it's insane how many. I mean, that's where I'm still wearing my shirt. I just got back from a showing right now. So
There's plenty of buyers. There's not enough houses. And what's happening January 1st is for the first time since 1996. So, Catherine, when you look at mortgage credit reports, you see you see FICO Model 2, FICO Model 4, and FICO Model 5. Those systems were developed in 1995. Mortgage brokers are using 30-year-old software. Imagine using Windows 95 on your computer. That's what they're doing. So for 30 years, it's been all FICO. As of January 1st, 2025, the entire credit scoring system changes. And if you're managing your credit today, if you continue to manage your credit like you are now, in January, you're going to see about a 100-point decrease in your credit score. People in the 800s are going to drop 100 to 150 points overnight, and they're not going to know why. And it's because of the way the scorecards and the algorithm works with Model 10T and Model 4.0 with Vantage. So it is going to make a big difference to understand how to manage your credit come January 1st. So I think what will happen with that, it's going to kick a lot of people who thought they were going to be able to buy out because their credit score is going to be too low. And here's a big change. As of right now, if you max out your credit cards and tomorrow you pay off your credit cards, you get up to 165 points instantly back if you pay off your credit cards. In January, that 165 point increase that you're used to getting is going to be trickled in over the next 2 years. So you're going to get about a little less. It's going to be about whatever 165 is divided by 24, 7 points a month. So if you max out your credit cards now and you pay them off and then it reports, you get your 165 points back. As of January, you max out the credit cards and pay them off, you're going to get 7 points a month for the next 24 months. That's why there's going to be many, many people that can't buy a house. And then people that hire me go through the program, listen to my podcast, watch me on TV. They're not going to be in that situation. So
I'm in that situation where my cards were maxed and now I've paid them all off. So is it going to affect me in January or am I?
It is, but it
2 years.
It will affect you, but not as bad as if you wouldn't have paid off the cards. So it is so important that you pay off those cards in full on the statement date every month. So when you log into Credit Mojo, which is our credit monitoring company, creditmojo.com, if you click on Score Boost, it will tell you exactly what day of the month that credit card reports to the credit bureau. So you know to pay that off by that date. Because if you pay it off on the due date, it's too late. It has to be paid before the due date, before they report it, which is generally a week to 2 weeks before your due date. So it's going to be really important that you keep your credit cards paid down, because otherwise in January it will hurt you. Let's see. I'm going to answer your question, Catherine, if that's okay, about the IRS.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't care if they watch or not. It's true.
Okay.
I don't lose sleep over the IRS. In fact, one of the things that I show my clients, by doing one thing, one little thing, it goes from 8,100 IRS agents that are legally allowed to audit you down to 320 by doing one little thing on your LLC. And it's just checking a box. But your CPA won't tell you this because they're not legally allowed to tell you this. But you check one box on a little piece of paper and you sign it and date it, it literally eliminates 96% of IRS agents from being able to audit you.
Great.
One checkbox. So I don't worry about the IRS. I've been audited. No big deal. It's no big deal if you have all your paperwork together. It's when you are running fast and loose that it's a problem. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Raise your hand, unmute yourself. I see Gary, Diane, Robert, Jeannie. Let's see, Ann, Keith, anybody else? So if you need some help signing up, you go to the website, you just click which one of these you want. Again, it looks something like this. So it looks something like that. You just pick which one of these, either the 129 or the 299. 299 is if you have a business, you want to learn how to build business credit. If you don't have a business, you can always upgrade to it later. If you have a business now, you can upgrade later. If you do the 299, you say, you know what, I learned enough. I went through all your courses, which you could do. You can always downgrade to the 129. Okay, so back and forth. Okay. All right, I'm gonna look one more time. Make sure there's no questions here. Okay, I think that's it. Tomorrow, I do my live coaching at 4 p.m. Pacific. So for all of you who have enrolled tonight, you get to do live coaching with me tomorrow. I look forward to that. Okay. One last time. Any questions? Type it in. Now's your chance. If you don't enroll, I'll probably never see you again unless you come back next week when I'm on here live. I do run records. I run this. This is how you know it's actually me. I have no teleprompter. I run a recording of this every week or every day, and then I do lives on Wednesday. So if you don't come back Wednesday and you don't sign up, you probably will not see me again unless you see me on social media. So last time for question, Keith's got one. Okay. Keith has questions on YouTube. Let me look on YouTube. I didn't see it. And if you guys don't have any questions, if you want to take off, you can. I don't see any questions on YouTube for Keith. Oh, how do you get a charge off of your credit report? My camera was blocking out. How do you get a charge off a credit report? Anything placed on a credit report can be removed from a credit report. Just like if you hire a real estate agent to sell your house and then you cancel your contract, they show up, they put a sign in the front yard. When they sell it or you cancel with them, they take their sign with you. When I got up this morning, I took a shower. I put this shirt on. When I go to bed tonight, I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to take the shirt off. Same thing with your credit report. A charge off is placed on a credit report. The charge off can be removed from the credit report. And the way it's removed from the credit report is by understanding UCC law, Universal Commercial Code, the Fair Credit Report Act, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. There's FACTA, there's Rosenthal, and it goes on and on and on. That's what we are really good at, is understanding the law. And we find mistakes in how they're reporting it. So for example, let me show you. There's a charge off up here. I think this one right here. This was technically a charge off. Oh, let me share this, right? Not that one, this one. So see right there under TransUnion, it says open. But under Experian, it says closed. By law, it has to match. It doesn't match. So by law, they either have to correct this or they have to remove it. Remember earlier when I said that cell phone company, every time we disputed it, they pulled the person's credit again, and that's illegal? The reason they were pulling their credit is because they didn't know what they put on her credit report. And so they were pulling her credit in an attempt to see what they reported. That's illegal. That's why she's getting a check for $8,000. When they put stuff on here incorrectly, you can sue them. There's almost 4,000 lawsuits filed every single month against the credit bureaus. That's 200 a month. 200 a day against the credit bureaus. Why? Because of mistakes like this. TransUnion says it's open. Experian says it's closed. If you were trying to buy a house right now and you had an open collection or an open charge off on your credit report, you would most likely be denied the mortgage regardless of how much you owe because it says open. The other thing, if you look at the dates, completely wrong. Experian says it was opened on January 1st. What bank is open on January 1st? Actuality, it was opened on January 22nd. Why does that matter? Well, if you're trying to buy a mortgage, the dates matter, especially the last payment date matters. So to answer your question, how do we get it removed? By disputing the mistakes on the credit report, not arguing why you were late. See, most people, when they deal with banks, credit bureaus, collection companies, and the IRS, they argue with them. Don't argue. Ask them questions. Why are you reporting this open on TransUnion but closed on Experian and nothing on Equifax? And when you ask the question, they have to, by law, answer the question. Guess what they do? They don't answer it. They send a letter saying this is accurate. And now we have them because now we have proof they broke the law. And the reason we send our letters out certified mail is we can prove they received the letter. And then there's a time, there's a clock that starts ticking when they receive that letter and they sign for it. That's how we get items removed, is by disputing the mistakes. And when you dispute the mistakes properly, this is what you get back. Deleted, 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 deleted. And then what we do is we create this little one-page form and we highlight it and we put the date in there when we deleted it. So it's easy. You can look at it real quick and say, oh, all those colors represent a deleted account. So that's how you do it. Anybody else have a question? Make sure. Otherwise, oh, Catherine's got one. Cool.
Yeah. My question is a lot of my accounts aren't being reported in general, even if they're positive.
Yeah. What kind of accounts?
Like credit cards. Sometimes I have credit cards
wow.
that has been reported a payment for like a year.
That is an issue with them, and there's not a whole lot you can do with it. What I would do if I was you is that's the cards I'd use for my business. If they're not reporting it, that's the card I'd be using.
Yeah. And then there's like some that just like are only reporting to one credit bureau, but not another too.
Yeah, and that's because they don't have to report to all three credit bureaus. It's like this. I like iPhones. I like Apple. I don't like Android. I have a choice. I can pick one or the other. I can drive a Ford. I drive a Toyota. I like Toyota trucks. And I like Toyota better than I like Ford. And so it's kind of the same way. Experian's the cheapest for people to report to. They're also the biggest. They're actually, if you take Equifax, TransUnion, and Inverness, combine all three of them together, Experian's still multiple times bigger than them. So Experian is where you see most of the damage. And that's why you'll see different credit scores on the bureaus because they report different stuff. Gary asked if Credit Karma is a good source. It's a good source to find a credit card to get. It's a horrible source for credit scores. Even worse for a credit report because it's not a real credit report. They sell credit cards. Inverness. Inverness is, if you live in Texas, that is the credit bureau they use in Texas. There are hundreds of credit bureaus still in America. Like Biloxi, Mississippi has their own credit bureau. Now they buy their information from the other big three, but there are hundreds of credit bureaus that are still around. I'll give you an example. I just went to Albertsons on the way home today. I stopped in to get some food, and in order to get my discount, I put in my cell phone number. You guys do that, right? That gets reported to a credit bureau. It's the largest out of all of them. They know how many rolls of toilet paper you go through. They know how much toothpaste you use. They know what kind of groceries you buy. And they gather that information and then they sell it to marketing companies. You ever wondered, like, why do you get coupons for stuff that you buy? It's because marketing companies buy it. So same thing with Facebook. Have you guys ever noticed? They listen to everything. When I want to do research on what I want to, if I'm thinking about buying something, I will just talk about it a little bit. Next thing I know, I start seeing it in my feeds on social media. They do the research for me. So that's just how it works. Okay. Anybody else, guys? Vanessa, where do we do? Oh, on anybody who enrolled tonight that wants me to go over the onboarding, go ahead and raise your hand. Everybody else, if you could have a great night and ask me a question if you have. Otherwise, I'm going to finish in about 5 minutes. Okay. So if you signed up tonight in full, so not if you paid the $1, because if you paid the $1, they're going to make you do the onboarding call anyway. But if you signed up at all, you can stay here. Anybody can actually stay. So, all right. I'm going to assume that everybody that's still on is